Welcome to CEO Corner. I'm Otis Rawl, President and CEO of the South Carolina Chamber of Commerce. And today I have Ted Speth with me with Ogletree Deakins. And we want to talk a little bit about a new program that we put in place ahead of Washington night to talk about issues that will be debated in Washington by our congressional delegation. Ted, with the election of President Obama and the efforts that organized labor has put into the election process, tell us a little bit about the program that's going to be ahead of Washington night and why it's important.
Well, Otis, to sum it up, we believe that over the next 24 to 36 months, we could see every federal regulation and law that governs employers in the employment context changed in some fashion and probably in significant fashion. Therefore, this is a real opportunity for businesses to learn about these changes or potential changes ahead of time and then be able to go into a program with our delegation and ask them questions about, is it going to change, how is it going to change, and what can we do if we object to the change. So I think it's a real opportunity for business to not only learn about what could happen and what has happened, quite frankly, already in 2009, but then discuss it in an open forum with the congressional delegation.
Well, I know one of the issues that's been a hot topic for the Chamber is employee free choice, or employee no choice, as a lot of people would call it. So I know that'll be one of the issues that will be addressed and the problems associated with it. So can you talk a little bit about what you're hearing out of Washington about EFCA?
Well, Employee Free Choice Act has been a hot issue, as you know, now for several years. It was introduced several weeks ago in both houses, both in the Senate and the House. Yesterday there was a real blow to the EFCA as it's been introduced when our inspector announced that he would oppose the act as it currently is, and he supported the act last year when it was introduced. And that is going to mean the act will probably not pass in its current form, but what we're now hearing that it could be amended, and some of those amendments that have been kicked around are as bad or worse than the act itself. So it is still alive and well, as are several efforts or similar efforts in Congress today.
Well, talk about some of the other issues that you see coming up on the forefront pretty quickly that employers should know about or should be concerned about.
Well, of course, riding on the heels of the Employee Free Choice Act is the RESPECT Act, which would change the dynamics of a voting unit. It would reach out and bring in frontline working supervisors beyond just what we would call lead people, actually frontline supervisors who have been considered management in the past, and bring them in under the union umbrella or into the union organizing group. That does two things. It limits the access a company can have to tell its story because it no longer has frontline supervisors available to it, but it also expands the number of people who would be in a unit. That RESPECT Act could, along with the Employee Free Choice Act, change labor relations as we know it in this country and have known it for the last 100 years.
And anybody that comes to the event in Washington night has the opportunity to come ahead of time to listen to the presentation. I know that we're going to have a bunch of experts there to talk about the different issues from Ogletree. Talk a little bit about what time the program's going to start and how long you expect it to last, Ted.
The program will start at 1 and go till 4. The first part of the program is going to be what has already happened in 2009. We've had amendments to the Americans with Disabilities Act. We've had new regulations under the Family Medical Leave Act. We've had the Lilly Ledbetter Act, which is a dramatic change. It basically does in a statute of limitations in employment discrimination cases. We've had 2 executive orders issued by President Obama that deal with federal government contractors and subcontractors and using union labor to perform those contracts. We have, as we've talked about, the employee. So we'll talk about those, what has happened. Then we'll change to what is on the horizon. And certainly the Employee Free Choice Act and the RESPECT Act are at the head of the list. But you've got amendments to the Equal Pay Act. You've got possible lifting of all caps of damages under the civil rights statutes such as Title VII, the ADA, so forth and so on. We have a number of changes that are out there. OSHA, there's some major changes in OSHA. There's some major changes on the horizon in COBRA and in benefits area. So we want to hit all those, and then we will conclude the program with trying to structure some questions and answers that can be directed towards our delegation to find out what are the real issues here and what can we do as a business community to make our concerns heard or voice our concerns to not only our delegation but Congress as a whole.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be an informative day for those folks that want to come and hear about labor issues in the workplace. I know the other thing that individuals and chamber members that want to learn more about union activity in the state, there's a website, unionfreesouthcarolina.org, that you can go to get additional information about union activity and do a risk analysis and prepare yourself in case unions become active in your location. Thank you for joining me on CEO Corner, and please join us next week as we talk about another issue important to the business community.